certainly the 12,000 jobs so far this year is significantly more than the number that have potentially been lost.
The Justice Minister has announced plans to modernise Ireland's international protection system. Announcing the move, Helen McEntee says the plans are designed to ensure those that need help get it, while also upholding the integrity of the system. It's 7:02.
News Talk weather.
Thanks to Ryanair. Cheer on the boys in green beating Scotland with Ryanair's low-fare flights to Paris in September.
Scattered showers continuing overnight, although many areas will remain dry, lows of 7 to 10 degrees. Now you're up to date on News Talk.
The Newsround on Off the Ball. This is News Talk.
Now then, you're welcome along. So busy show in the way. It is one of the great Irish sporting weekends, and it is upon us once again. All-Ireland hurling semi-final weekend. Saturday, Limerick Galway, and Sunday, Kilkenny Clare. James E. O'Connor and Paul Murphy are with us this hour. Tim Vickery as well on the show. Been a while since we talked to Tim, because Carlo Ancelotti continues to have one of the truly great careers as a player and a manager. His CV will now say Brazil manager. So Carlo's taking over Brazil as of next year. Tim will fill us in on the details. Plus, Andy Mitten talks to us about Manchester United's summer. Mason Mount signed, and David De Gea, it seems, out the door. 53106, the text number. We are at Off the Ball on Twitter. Michael McCarthy, hello to you.
Joe, when I was used to play like Championship Manager so long ago that it was Championship Manager before it was Football Manager, like it'd be the type of thing you'd be like Michael McCarthy with like Irish, you'd make up a history for yourself. You know, I was an Irish international, 12 caps, never really made it, you know, but I was like Arsenal manager, and then the Brazil job came up and I took it on a part-time basis. Sure. And I was like the Brazil manager now, trying to get them into the World Cup. That's like Carlo Ancelotti's career. He does what he wants. Basically Football Manager. I know. It's extraordinary. I mean, Everton to Real Madrid to Brazil. Having come from AC Milan and everywhere else. It really felt as he pitched up at Goodison, well, it's been a hell of a run, and it's no bad place to wind down. Yeah, exactly. And here we are. It was all just beginning all over again. Richie McCormack, hello to you.
Gentlemen, how are you? Don't write Carlo off, Richie. What a man. What a man. When you consider that his coaching career goes back to the late 90s. Yeah. And I kind of forget that he was involved in that amazing Parma squad, or at least the back end of it, and then trailed off from there. He's quite something, and pretty much everywhere he's been successful. And I think he's managed to do it in ways that kind of changed then through the years. He's evolved in his method of man management, whereas at Real he kind of seems like a hands-off kind of vibes man, whereas before he was more so, dictating every little minutiae. And he might be doing that now, but it kind of seems as if he's almost this fatherly figurehead at Real, and that's all they need. And because they're that damn good. Yeah. He's done different types of coaching, but seems to be if you go all the way back to AC Milan, through Chelsea, everywhere, you don't hear people talking negatively about Carlo Ancelotti at all, The opposite. So that takes a lot. Their first foreign coach since 1965, Brazil as well. So there is that aspect to it, and obviously there's been a sort of fervent nationalism there of late in their political discourse. So I'm curious to see how a whole cohort of the country feel about a foreigner taking over Brazil. So Tim Vickery will join us in due course. Jamesy and Paul Murphy with us this hour. We should get into the news round. There's plenty going on. So in light of the Athletic piece on Monday, Richie, long week, Monday, Vera Pauw and Katie McCabe were speaking to the media today. This is ahead, of course, of the game against France tomorrow. So needless to say, the Athletic piece brought up and discussed at that press conference, no doubt. Yeah, very little of the match actually discussed at that press conference today, but Katie McCabe has given her backing to Republic of Ireland manager Vera Pauw. That report by The Athletic contained anonymous allegations of abusive behaviour from Pauw's former Houston Dash players. Pauw has described the allegations as lies, while McCabe admits Pauw's management style has caused clashes within the Ireland camp at times, but none too serious.
Of course it's a real negative distraction, but for us we're solely focusing on what we have going forward. We have a game against one of the top 5 teams in the world tomorrow here in Tallaght Stadium against France. A massive send-off game in front of our home fans that I wasn't able to play 2 weeks ago, so I'm really looking forward to be able to lead out the girls tomorrow with that. And we've got a massive 4 or 5 weeks ahead of us in Australia, and for us, yes, of course, it's a lot of external noise, but our fully focused is on these next few weeks, and keeping together as a group.
And as a group, do you fully support Vera Pauw as your manager?
Yeah, we've built something over the last 2.5 years, we've worked really hard together to contain the culture we have within the group, in terms of on and off the pitch. We've had highs and we've had lows over the last few years, and our jobs as staff and as players is to put in high quality performances for our country, and that's what we'll be looking to do for the next few weeks.
And would you say that you speak for the whole team, all 23? They're happy with Vera Pauw's answer to those allegations?
I can't answer for each and every player. Of course, Vera has a style of management that we're used to now over the last 2 years. It's something we've worked together. We've argued with each other, of course. Like, you're never going to get on 100% with your manager at times. She pushes me and I push her. So, in my opinion, and from my personal relationship with Vera, of course, we've clashed many times, but we're always professional enough to make sure we are fully focused for the team, and we know both of our hearts are in the right place in terms of wanting what's best for the Ireland women's national team going forward. And again, of course, the article timing is not great, but our full focus will be France tomorrow and then going into Colombia next week, and then obviously kicking off our first ever World Cup.
Katie McCabe speaking there, Mick.
Yeah, she was. Spoke well, I think. And I think one of the things that I like, we don't know anything, and look, you obviously talked about this at length last night. We talked to the authors of the Athletic piece last night as well, and we probably talked about it enough. One thing I would say from that is Katie McCabe's still not in the position to answer like a question there sitting beside Vera Pauw, but what I would take some kind of solace from, I suppose, is that when asked about a relationship and whether all 23 players, she didn't say she'd spoken to all 23 players, she didn't suggest that she could speak for everyone, and then also didn't suggest that they had, the easiest relationship ever, and didn't kind of say nothing to see here. It was nothing to see here, but it was a kind of a look, we have fights, she has a style of management that's all well reported. We're not trying to say that doesn't exist, but we're fine with it. It just makes me believe it a little bit more than it would if it was kind of like everything's great, we all have the great time, we're all great mates. So I do take some kind of solace in that. I also have to say, and it just dawned on me there at the end, and I was there last Wednesday night when we were in the Mansion House, and it was it was a party basically, kind of sending off a team for their first World Cup, and a country for a first World Cup in this tournament. And I thought back about the day after Glasgow, and the fact that the video came out and that all turned to controversy straight away, and it feels like the send-off for the World Cup has now turned into, with this piece coming out, has kind of turned into something now they're up answering questions about something they don't want to be talking about, when what's in reality is they're playing France tomorrow night, and that's probably all their focus, and then it's off to Australia, and it's an incredibly exciting time for this team, for women's football in Ireland, for women's sport in Ireland, or for Irish sport, I would say, even in general, and we're talking about something else.
No, absolutely, that is a pity. I said what I had to say in the situation last night. Probably got a bigger reaction than I had anticipated. Divisive enough, but I would just emphasise my point was not about Vera Pauw. And I wasn't in Houston, I'm not in the Irish camp. Vera Pauw's entitled to be as intense a manager as she wants to be and defend herself. And I understand how dressing rooms work as well. And my point was 100% about the FAI, their handling of the situation, their full-blooded support, public statement 2 hours after that USWN report was published without talking to the players. That does not seem to me like a healthy, good process. And even listening to the press conferences today, if a good process had been followed back in December, and if the players have been spoken to maybe via third party or on the basis of confidence, and they'd all come back with similar answers to Katie, and I agree with you, very rings true what Katie's saying.
Yeah,
like,
you know what? That's a way of putting it that I wasn't able to earlier, but it's perfect. Yeah, rings true.
Rings true. It's not a party. It's intense. That's a dressing room. We get on with it. That's what it's like at our club. You know, it's all good. You know, we don't have the problems that Houston players seem to have. Then this thing would have been put to bed in December, and for me, that's on the FAI's door.
Just because it's the
point yesterday.
Just because that's the likely outcome, and nobody's suggesting otherwise, doesn't mean that it's not worth checking.
No, it's due process. Yeah. It's due process. Like, you're the organisation in charge. You've the duty of care. This isn't a flimsy report. It's a serious report by serious people. You have to address it properly in December. They didn't, and that left everybody, including Vera Pauw, who could well have been exonerated if they had followed due process in December. That left everybody open to this thing bubbling along, to the athletic piece this week, and then again the same show of support without any detail as to why there is that support, and here we are.
Yeah.
So for me, again, because people are saying, I get a lot of, well, the allegations are like, yeah, snowflake. My point is not about the allegations. I understand that they, at a glance, could fall under the heading of normal cut and thrust of a dressing room, but that's not how certain players saw it at Houston. Therefore, there was the USWN report. Therefore, the FA are obliged to just ensure everything's good. That's all. It's a very simple point I'm trying to make. But when you're explaining, you're probably losing. Look, a lot of people got the point I was trying to make. It's a specific one, and I'm not going to labour it again. Richie.
Why are you trying to ruin the World Cup for everyone, Joe?
Yes,
why?
Exactly.
Why?
Exactly. But everything I said about the FAI last night, I stand by 1,000%. Where are we going next?
Foyleside Derry City boss Rory Higgins is believed to be the leading candidate to fill the managerial vacancy at Barnsley. The English League One club saw Michael Duff depart for Swansea, having led them to the playoff final this season. Barnsley want to have a new manager in charge ahead of their next pre-season friendly on Saturday. It's believed Higgins has already held discussions with the Oakleafers about that particular gig.
I mentioned Rich Andy Mittens on the way.
Yep, Mason Mount was this morning unveiled as Manchester United's first signing of the summer. The midfielder has left Chelsea in a deal worth an initial €63 million. Mount has signed a 5-year deal at Old Trafford with the option of a 6th. United have also reportedly placed a €45 million bid with Inter for their goalkeeper Andre Onana. Inter are believed to want $60 million for their stopper.
It's we'll talk to Andy later on. On a broader point, there was kind of an interesting piece in the Sunday Times at the weekend that once upon a time, player moving from top 6 club in the Premier League to another was a really unusual occurrence. And, you know, well, Stephen Gerrard to Chelsea is maybe an extreme example because of what he meant to Liverpool fans. But, you know, he was a big deal. Whereas now they're hopping around all the time. Kovacic to Man City, no one bats an eyelid. Will sell Mount to United, no trouble.
Trying to even think of a few. William Gallas did it. I like there hasn't been
Jorginho did
many. Jorginho did it last year, but
he's the second most expensive Italian player of all time now, and that's, you know, it's not nothing. But it generally happens to involve Chelsea more often than not as a fulcrum for these things, and Arsenal are often the other end point to it as well. But it's very rare, like, because obviously Spurs and Arsenal moves are rarer than hen's teeth. Liverpool. Manchester United ones obviously haven't happened really since that Dave Chisholm one. So yeah, it's usually Chelsea is the fulcrum.
It is an interesting culture change though, and it probably just comes from the fact that, like, I mean, there are all the best players in the world want to play for the same 7 or 8 teams now, and 6 of them are in England, you know, and that's the way it is. It's probably unfortunate, but I remember being like really kind of weirded out as a kid, you know, with English and Irish football culture in your head when you see like Roberto Baggio going from Juventus to AC Milan. Like, how could this happen? You know, and we're veering towards that in the Premier League now. Like, it's not too far away. Maybe Liverpool and United will hold off for a while out of their like pure hatred for each other. I can see Man City, Man United transfers, or City, Liverpool even, you know.
Wimbledon continues. Djokovic in action.
Yeah, he is at the moment. He leads Jordan Thompson by 2 sets to love now. 6-3, 7-6 is how those have gone in Djokovic's favour on centre court in their second round match, going with serve in the third, about to go 4-4. Dominic Thiem, meanwhile, has forced the 5th set in his first round match with the 5th seed Stefanos Tsitsipas. Andy Murray awaits the winner in round 2. 3-all in the 5th there. Men's third seed Daniel Medvedev beat Arthur Ferry in straights this afternoon to move comfortably into the second round. 9th seed Taylor Fritz needed 5 5 sets to see off Yannick Hanfman. Michael Immer is next for Fritz. There are also first round wins today for the 6 seed Holger Rune and 10 seed Francis Tiafoe. In the women's draw, top seed Iga Swiatek needed just 70 minutes to beat Sara Sorribes Tormo 6-2, 6-love to advance to round 3. 8 seed Maria Sakkari lost her first round match in 3 sets to Marta Kostyuk. Also out, 2021 finalist Karolina Pliskova beaten by the world number 225 Natalia Stefanovic. But there were first round wins today for the 10th seed Barbora Krejcikova, French Open semi-finalist Beatrice Haddad-Maia, Danielle Collins and Sloane Stephens. Meanwhile, play on court 18 was stopped not once but twice today after Just Stop Oil protesters threw orange confetti and jigsaw pieces. On the second occasion, it affected a match involving British number 1 Katie Boulter. 3 people have been arrested in conjunction with those interruptions.
Tennis is a hard one to curtail. You can't have bodyguards or security guards all around the perimeter
on all the different courts as well. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they are getting they're inventive crowd. In fairness to them, like in some way, was there a press? Did we play a press conference yesterday, or did Richie mention it where they were like, "Oh, this tournament." I think it was like Andy Murray going, "Oh, there'll be protests at this tournament. Just Stop Oil will be out at some point." It's like they're just saying, yeah, look, let them do it. We'll clean it up. We'll get on with it.
They get them out of their system.
Exactly.
They've done it. What they're not doing it twice. They're probably not going to be back.
So just to be as like painful as possible to have to find them all.
That's it. Yeah, I don't think they can do as much damage as they did in the snooker.
Yeah,
and they can. You look at the care that they took with Centre Court on Monday when they couldn't get the roof. Well, they closed the roof, but the humidity had caused moisture on the court, and they basically had leaf blowers out trying to dry the thing.
So a glass of water could be the ultimate weapon.
Absolutely, like that's what they should be bringing with them next time.
Well, glass could be the ultimate weapon. If they smash a glass bottle, are you going to guarantee players every little shard is gone? But then that would turn the public against you if you sliced open Andy Murray's knee. You know, you couldn't do that.
Grigor Dimitrov has sliced open a calf courtesy of Just Stop Oil. Yeah.
We got to take a very short break. Newsround continues in just 1 moment.
The Newsround on Off the Ball. This is News Talk.
The feeling you've the best seat in the house.
The president doesn't get better than these.
The feeling those lads must be born with hurls in their heads. Glued to them, sure. The feeling there's nowhere else you'd rather be.
The feeling they're not out of the woods yet.
And then
it's gone. The feeling it couldn't get any louder. And then it just does.
The feeling that nothing feels like hurling. Feel good, choose community. Central, proud sponsors of the Hurling Championship.
Timber Living cabins are so well built and insulated, they can be whatever you want them to be. From a light-filled office or gym to a rent-saving one-bed apartment, a cosy granny flat to a spacious 3-bed family home. All Timber Living cabins come with a 10-year structural guarantee, and if you order a 3-bed Tullow cabin before the end of July, we'll give you €2,000 cash back. Visit our show cabins in Carlo, Cork, Roscommon, Galway and Limerick or timberliving.ie. Timber Living, log cabins for life.
The furniture sale is now on at Flanagan Kerins. There's discount on all stock. Yes, all stock including beds, mattresses, sofas, tables, chairs, pianos, beanbags, rugs, half-price mirrors, pictures and lamps, gifts and even special orders. You also get free assembly and free recycling of your replaced bed or mattress. Flanagan Kerins, Southern Cross Bray. Sale now on. Flanagan Kerins, furniture for life.
Cupra for mentor. 2 words causing quite a stir. Because this car stops you in your tracks, even when it's standing still. But that's what it was designed to do. Make a stunning first impression. And what's more, with the offers now available in July, there are 0 reasons not to choose the Cupra for mentor. See our incredible offers at cupraofficial.ie.
What makes us love our county so fiercely, despite all the summers of hurt? What lifts us back up year after year after year? What stirs such passion in our hearts and brings us out in our thousands? It's something intangible, deep in our veins. It's our county. It's our people. It's in our blood. AIB, the toughest. Proud sponsors of the All-Ireland Senior Football Championship.
The Newsround on Off the Ball. This is News Talk.
You're welcome back. Just to mention, by the way, people of Cork, the Cork Podcast Festival is on in August. Off the Ball will be there on Sunday the 27th at the Cork Opera House. Special guest Jimmy Barry Murphy, hero to Roy Keane. More guests to be announced very soon. And if you want information on that, corkpodcastfestival.ie/off the ball is the place to go. We were just talking Wimbledon there. Senan Howe has tweeted me, lads, on tennis, the new Sky documentary on McEnroe is very good. Tortured bloke back in the days. Discuss. You are not the first person I've seen say this.
I haven't heard anything about it, but I like the look of it. I saw it the other day. I was on Sky Go looking for something else, and I was like, oh, will I just watch this now? And I didn't. I stuck to my plan, and I'm sorry I did now, actually. So I might try and watch it in the next couple of days.
I've seen many people who've seen it say it's very good.
Yeah,
it's always a pleasant surprise.
It was out last year, I think, in America.
Was it? Yeah. Okay.
It's just called Mac. I think Showtime put it together. Yeah. Okay. It was put out last year. I think Sky would have gotten a hold of it if it's on Showtime.
All these documentaries, like the proliferation of them, I think they've now reached the point where sports autobiographies are, where it's like I'll assume it's not great until I hear otherwise territory. That's where I am with them. Just so many. Fair. So it seems to be an exception. The McEnroe one. We will check it out, Senan. Rich, where we go next?
We'll go Leeside to the proposed friendly clash of Munster and the Crusaders will be played at Páirc Uí Chaoimh. The Cork GAA executive have submitted a proposal to the GAA Central Council to consider at their next meeting on Saturday week. A meeting of the URC and Super Rugby champions has been penciled in for February 3rd. Cork officials are said to be optimistic about the Crusaders game being given the go-ahead, while Guy Easterby has been appointed Leinster's first ever Chief Operating Officer. The former Ireland international switches from his previous position as head of rugby operations. Easterby's new remit will include overseeing the province's strategic growth over the coming years.
Munster Crusaders, Páirc Uí Chaoimh. They love a good, juicy one-off encounter. Munster. You never see Leinster playing anyone.
Well, maybe Leinster should go and win the URC, Joe.
Fair enough.
On a year where they decide to do this.
So it's a URC Super Rugby champions. That's the reason.
It's the URC champions versus the Super Rugby champions. They're going to try it as a kind of an annual thing.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So, I thought it was akin to Munster playing South Africa.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a world championship. I like it.
Yeah, they're going to broaden this thing out. It's kind of testing the waters for a broader competition that would involve X amount of teams from the URC and X amount of teams from Europe and X amount of teams from Super Rugby. But this is the first dip into the toes.
Yeah, because it's funny. I don't know where you guys are on it, but I think with the club football World Cup, is that what it's even called? I'd struggle to kind of get too into it, but I would definitely watch the Heineken Champions Cup winners play. Well, the Crusaders, more than likely, more often than not. I'd watch La Rochelle Crusaders, or if Leinster had won, Leinster Crusaders, or in this case Munster.
It's more of an even battle. I think that's the problem with the World Club Cup, is that you expect the European team to be better, and even when they don't win, you don't really read too much into it, because you kind of feel like in this day and age, all the best Brazilians and Argentinians are in Europe, or at least are on their way to Europe. So I think that's why the club one suffers in football, but I think rugby absolutely has room for it. I just don't know if we need another tournament, and we need more cross hemisphere travelling and so on, but I've lost that battle.
Yeah. Tour de France continuing, Rich.
Yeah, Jai Hindley has taken the overall leader's yellow jersey following victory on today's fifth stage of the Tour de France. The Bora Hansgrohe rider came home 32 seconds ahead of Giulio Ciccone. Hindley now leads by 47 seconds over Jonas Vingegaard on general classification. Previous leader Adam Yates drops down to fifth position. Current Republic of Ireland international Enna Stevens has signed a one-year deal at Stoke City. The fullback had been released by Sheffield United at the end of the season.
So I see Arsenal have made a signing, and interestingly, PSG have a new manager.
Yeah, Arsenal have reportedly agreed a deal with Ajax to sign their fullback Jurrien Timber. The 22-year-old will cost an initial €40 million, with a further €5 million in potential add-ons. The Declan Rice deal is getting closer as well. Paris Saint-Germain, as you mentioned, today unveiled Luis Enrique as their new head coach. The Parisian Giants this morning terminated the contract of Christophe Galtier, despite him leading them to the Ligue 1 title this season just gone. Luis Enrique says winning the Champions League is one of his objectives at PSG. Meanwhile, club owner Nasser Al-Khelaifi says Kylian Mbappe has to decide in the next 2 weeks if he wants to leave.
Alert.
The France captain has stated he won't sign a contract extension, but Al-Khelaifi says they won't allow him to leave for free next summer.
There's something particularly cruel about sacking a manager on the day you appoint the new manager, and it's like you go out with your cardboard box of stuff and you see Luis Enrique coming in with a big smile on his face in the door, having like towed away your car and got into the car park space. Not sure Galtier deserved any better, to be honest.
They've done that the last couple of, that's how they got rid of Pochettino. Was a while in being gotten rid of as well before they brought in Galtier, so they've had that crossover where one lad knows he's getting the job and the other lad is still kind of in it. I think it's just how Al Khelafi and his mates do business there, but it's a cutthroat business over there in Paris.
Well, we'll see what Luis Enrique can manage to do with them.
Once he keeps off, what was he on with the World Cup? He was doing Twitch streams during the course of that with Spain.
That's right. So he could speak directly to the fans. He had a headset and everything. Did you remember
that? Wasn't he talking about like pre-game sex and stuff like that? It went down a few weird angles, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I hope so, now that I've said it.
I think, to be fair, the context, he was asked, what's your policy on this? And this is the problem if you're just like, ask me anything. First question. So, well, we mentioned
streaming nightly on video isn't a good idea, Joe, as we all know.
Yeah, indeed. Get yourself in a lot of trouble. So, the Saudi Arabian takeover continues.
Yeah, for Roberto Firmino, the latest player joining the gold rush to Saudi Arabia, the former Liverpool striker has agreed a 3-year deal with Al Ahly. Firmino will link up with former Chelsea goalkeeper Edouard Mendy at that particular club.
Okay, very good, fellas. We're done. Richie, thank you very much.
Nice and lads.
Michael, we'll talk to you later. Thank you.
Your chance to win big. News Talk's Summer Cash Machine.
Now then, we have a rollover, so if you've